I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about why avoidants push you away. Whew. So we have been talking about attachment theory since we launched the channel because it is so tied to our romantic relationships. And the more that you start to understand your own attachment issues, the more you're going to be able to navigate your own feelings and emotions and be able to identify your own needs and also your partner's. So it's really important to understand attachment styles if you want to have healthier dating life.
Yeah. And, we both know a great deal about it because we work with it every day. It's something that the more you learn about, the easier it is to spot. Before we get into it, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for one-on-one coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation in a more private way with us, you're more than welcome to. Just go on our website to book a call.
That's right. It's the only way to do it is through the website. If you ever get any direct messages or anything like that, it is not us, only through the website. I like to say that because people do get scammed occasionally, and then they tell me about it and I feel bad. So be careful, only through the website. All right, so I've got an email coaching today that I wanted to share because it's going to show some of the things that happen when you're dating somebody that will cause an avoidant to push you away. Now, there's going to be a lot more going on to the situation than just that, but for those of you that are really trying to understand how to date an avoidant and avoiding the mistakes that will push them away, you got to start to learn these things and have those aha moments. It's not easy to do, but the more you understand it, the more you see it and the clearer it becomes.
Right. And just because you have an insecure attachment style, whether that be anxious or avoidant or disorganized, doesn't mean that you are not apt for a relationship. So we don't want to write anybody off just because of their attachment style, but we do want to see how these dynamics play into the relationship.
Yeah, you definitely want to focus on personal growth while you're in no contact because it's going to be very challenging. If you're dating an avoidant, it's going to be really challenging to hold your emotions in check because they're going to say and do a lot of things. They're going to push you to test you, push your buttons, all those things.
And remember, this is willing. You don't have to date an avoidant, but if you so choose, and if you happen to fall in love with somebody who's avoidantly attached and want to learn how to navigate that, this can be helpful for you.
So, got this email coaching today, and we're going to call this guy Jerry. Why not?
All right.
And you give her a name.
I'll say, I don't know.
There's a lot of pressure.
Gertrude.
Now,
is that too dramatic?
Jerry and Gertrude?
We'll say Jen.
All right. Jerry and Jen. All right. So, Jerry is in his late 20s, but Jenny is in her early 40s. There's a bit of an age gap, but it depends upon the person. Sometimes, in this situation, we have an older woman. And sometimes women don't want to date a much younger guy like this because of the social stigmas that come with it, friends and family, and things like that. And also, a lot of times women will talk about how immature guys tend to be at this age because he's not even 30 yet.
Yeah.
And there's challenges that come with that because a lot of times people just haven't matured enough yet.
Right. And there's also a lot of research on women with younger men, particularly those women who are more successful than their partner. And so that can cause a lot of conflict too. So keep that in mind.
All right. So Jerry and Jen, he's in his late 20s. She's in her early 40s. Okay. So they dated for about 8.5 months. Now, the fact that he put the half month in there, that probably tells you he's anxious already, right?
Yeah, probably.
And he says the relationship ended badly. Uh-oh, so what do you guys think happened? Let's see. He says, in the beginning, we were both head over heels for each other. We saw each other at least 3 to 4 times a week. Now, that may have been a little bit too much. Gets exciting when you meet somebody, but you really got to do your best. I'd say no more than twice a week in the beginning. Otherwise, it could be overwhelming.
Right. You want to pace yourself.
We both got each other, and we fell in love pretty quickly. But remember, you don't know each other yet. It takes time. So this fantasy that we have of who the person is going to be very different when you see them 2 years later.
Right. And different parts of your personality will show up at different times. So keep that in mind. You know, when someone's angry, they tend to act differently than when they're madly in love in the beginning and they're trying to impress you.
It's a great point. Okay. However, months down the line, she started working more and had less time available for me. So, if you've been watching for the channel for a while, you probably know what's going to happen here already. We've already suspected he might have an anxious attachment style. Now, she's got less time for him. What do you think he's going to do?
He's going to start protesting.
And making bids to connect, trying to push, and it's probably going to overwhelm her, right?
Remember, because you're setting a status quo in those beginning weeks or months. You know, so your body, your mind gets used to that.
Yeah.
So naturally, when real life hits you, you have to start showing up to work. You know, you can't live in love fantasy forever. A lot of times it doesn't pay the bills. Sometimes it does, depending on who you date. But once reality hits, you know, then the relationship naturally has to take on a different pace.
That's right. This is where I began to recognize signs of our attachment styles. She is a dismissive avoidant, and I was an anxious preoccupied. He put AP. All right, so he probably found out about attachment theory after the breakup or things started falling apart. Jenny told me early on that she was bad at love.
Listen to people when they say things like this.
Here, you can already start putting the check marks of, is this person avoidant, right? Because that's a big sign that avoidants often say they're bad at love or something similar to that. And it scared her that she cared so deeply about me. All right, so this is a central theme to what we want to talk about today. Avoidants are looking for reasons to push you away. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that fear that the avoidant has.
Remember that to get to the point where they become avoidantly attached, they've been let down over and over and over again, particularly in their childhood. So at this point, you know, that love and care and excitement for him in the beginning is also paired with that fear of, is this person going to let me down? Or this is really uncomfortable because this is not familiar to me. I'm not used to this. And normally in the past, when I've had feelings like this for someone, it hasn't ended well. So I see that there's a lot of anticipation of what will be in the relationship and fear of what it means for her to care deeply, what risk it puts her at. We're vulnerable when we're in love. Right? And that's what Freud said. We're never as vulnerable as when we're in love. And it's scary. And, you know, you don't know somebody and you have all these overwhelming, intense feelings for them. But at the same time, you've been hurt and disappointed your whole life. So a lot of times people will shut down. And it'll shock you because you're like, who is this person? They were great last week. Yeah.
They want to break up with me.
Yeah. And what I hear from those who are more anxiously attached, they say, but I'm scared too. Your anxiety allows you to override that fear a lot more so than someone who is avoidant. So for the avoidant, that fear is much more on the surface. It's nagging at them a lot more than it is for you. So just try to keep some perspective there. Maybe you're scared also, but it's different.
They're going to operate differently. Okay. So this is important. You got to understand your role in the anxious avoidant dating scenario or relationship. And that's why we always tell you, do the work. That's why we have the creative healing course and the workbooks. It's all centered around helping you heal these issues so you act more confidently and you don't do things like we're going to see here. Because I could already predict it, right? You already know what's going to happen because it happens so often. Okay, so she said that it scared her to care about him so deeply and investing so much time into him. She said it was not like her. So we have another sign there that she doesn't usually attach to people like this. Another sign that she's probably avoidant, right? Then she started working more. I saw her much less, and that triggered my anxious side. I found myself bargaining for her time, dropping everything to help her, and I did too much. She began to gradually get overwhelmed and irritated. What do you think about this?
Pretty classic, you know? And I could see for him, he's not used to now spending less time with her and having more of a normal pace of a relationship. So he goes into panic mode. And I wonder if some of him in his anxious mind is interpreting her distancing as his fault. You know, just like maybe a child would think, my parents aren't showing me affection because of me. It's something I'm doing or not doing. Versus it just being life. You know, in life you need a certain amount of space. And it sounds like she needed that certain amount of space. It seems like he overcompensated for that.
Yeah, and he probably started looking like too much of a pleaser, just trying, like he didn't have his own identity or his own things going on. He was always willing to see her at any minute, at any time. And you know how avoidants can get when they get overwhelmed like that, irritated, annoyed, and then start lashing out, stuff like that. Okay. She was separated from her husband, but still cohabitating with him for financial reasons. Okay, so this is pretty big.
This is really big.
She's still married. She might be separated, but she still hasn't truly left that situation because they're still living together financially. Some of you guys may try and argue against this, but we see this all the time. You really need to be out of that divorce for a while before you're emotionally ready for something new.
And I'm thinking about what it does for her psychologically to be sharing a space with her husband, you know, even if they are separated, and what it would be like for her personally, what she would be like after some time has passed from a legal documentation of a divorce.
Yeah.
Sometimes people feel differently when there's some concrete paperwork.
Yeah. So, you know, the fact that she hasn't really been divorced, moved on, and then ready to start dating again, now she probably feels like she has two husbands. We've got an anxious guy here. He's probably smothering her. He wants all of her time. Then at home, she's got a husband there too. She's probably getting really irritated by the double husband.
It also makes me wonder what their agreements are for dating other people. I don't know if there's children involved. It's not stated, but it can get really messy. I wonder if, you know, her husband knows about this situation, if her husband is dating other people, and, you know, that's the agreements of their separation. It gets really sticky there.
Yeah. She was working through an internship and working over 40 hours a week. So you can imagine how tired she is on top of that. She's got a husband at home, a husband at work, a husband at home. There's husbands everywhere. This avoidant is not going to be happy. She had mood swings around me fairly often. When she did make time to see me, she would criticize me and never admitted her faults. So now we're seeing a little bit more here, sounding like she might be more towards the dismissive avoidance side, where she's criticizing, she's angry. She's probably angry, oh, I have to spend all this time with him, and he wants all this time with me, and so she's lashing out.
Yeah. And it sounds like she's emotionally cranky, which I don't blame her. It sounds like there's a lot of emotional things going on in her life.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. This wore on my patience, but I loved her dearly. I let a lot of things slide. And, you know, this is a new relationship, so if he's letting all these things slide, she's going to kind of like lose respect for him and not value his free time so much because he's so eager to give it up.
Right. And she's also letting things slide here, you know? She's treating him differently, and I wonder her own level of self-awareness. You know, she could say, well, I'm really overwhelmed right now. Let's take some more time so I can be very intentional with you. Of course, that would trigger more of his anxiety, but that might also mean that she might have more energy for him and have more energy for a better mood with him.
Yep.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah, so this, but you can see how the pattern is going to keep going here. Anyway, she had strict boundaries, and that's ultimately what led to end of our relationship, which is ironic because she had the boundaries, but he didn't, right? I made an appointment with her. Okay, this is where you're gonna really see that anxiety come out. It's gonna be bad. Brace yourselves, people. You can already see it, right?
Gosh.
Now Victoria has not seen this yet, but she can already tell.
All right.
I made an appointment with her at her job. Let's just say she works in a service-oriented field where he could make an appointment there. Talked briefly about she had been since I hadn't seen her. Then I left after the appointment. Later that night, she sent me a text saying it wasn't appropriate for me to talk about personal life while she was working.
I 1000% agree. And if you guys have seen any of these videos, you know that one of my pet peeves is pestering people when they're at work. You know, whether that's in the dating world, whether that's you trying to contact your ex and going through their work. This is not okay. This is not okay. You know, this is dealing with people's incomes, their livelihoods, and this is a dangerous territory.
Especially with an avoidant.
Yes. Yeah.
So, he said, I understood. But did he really understand? We're going to find out. Then I really messed up. I booked another appointment the next day.
Oof. All right. All right. And this is where it gets into sometimes you can be so anxious and overwhelmed by your own compulsions, your compulsion to connect, that you ignore everything that your partner is telling you. Sometimes when we're anxious, we focus on exactly the wrong thing and it backfires on us completely. And this is exactly what happened. She made it very clear that he had overstepped a serious boundary. She said it was inappropriate, and I agree with her.
Yep.
And so for him to do that a second time around,
The next day.
Yeah.
I mean, you're telling her you understand, and you're literally doing the exact same thing the next day.
And it's that anxious, hopeless romantic inside of us that says, if I could just see her, if she just sees me, I know she cares about me.
Yep.
But we have to step down out of our emotions for a moment, ground, and really think about what our ex or what anybody is telling us, the content of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. She got mad and thought I did it to talk.
All right.
The BS detector is going off like crazy here. I mean, you're lying to yourself if you're saying that the reason you didn't do this was to talk to her. If you really believe that, then you are in denial, because it's clear you went to her job or made the appointment to go the next day to talk to her. You didn't go for the service. Come on. You're making excuses. You got to be honest with yourself in these situations. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fix these things.
And our brain will do really tricky things. It will try to convince us.
Yeah.
No, but you really need the service.
I need it. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay. She had me cancel the appointment, and we broke up with me the next day. I mean, there's no surprise here. This is exactly what we're talking about. We could see this happening from the get-go. And this is why you have to learn about attachment theory and how people have different needs, because this is the cycle that will happen over and over again.
And I will say, as a woman in particular, we are always looking out for our safety. When someone repeatedly crosses a boundary, especially when it's a personal/work-life boundary there, that's already going to make me think, well, if this is the first offense and it's been, however many months of us dating, what's going to happen later down the line?
And the fact,
what if there's something more serious that happens?
The fact that he did it 2 days in a row after she already got mad and said, this is inappropriate. He says, I understand, and then does it the next day.
Right. I think he was one more time away from the police getting called.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think he did? What do you guys think he did? I got angry and said she didn't really love me. Here's the drama. Where there's drama,
there's trauma.
There you go. That she was selfish. Isn't it ironic that he can point out that she's selfish, but what he doesn't see is what he did here was selfish. He was selfish by showing, going to her work and then continuing to go book an appointment the next day, even after she said no, that was selfish. That's because of his anxiety. That's what I've been trying to tell you guys for a long time. Go watch my video, The Real Reason Relationships Fail. It talks a lot about how anxiety causes us to be selfish.
And I think here is a lesson also on age and maturity. Now, I'm seeing that this response is coming really from a hurt place. It's not coming from this mature, well thought out place. And yes, he is younger. And so there is this stigma of, oh, he's just a young kid. He's just not even in his 30s yet. But at this point, his frontal lobe, we assume, is fully developed, right? And so people his age have been a lot more mature than this. People older than him have been a lot more immature than this. Maturity really comes from being able to make healthy choices, being able to listen to others, being able to be respectful, even in emotionally challenging situations.
Absolutely. Okay, so he says, I got angry and said that she didn't really love me, that she was selfish, and I just wanted to get her stuff back to her. I put her things in her car, sent her a goodbye text, then I said I didn't mean it hours later. Obviously, he didn't mean it. He just was angry, and this is what happens. You lose emotional self-control. I begged and pleaded, cycled back and forth between anger and sadness, and took all of this out on her for 2 weeks. Eesh.
I hope he means quietly.
No, I don't think he does. I don't think he does. Because, let's see what happened. She got overwhelmed, upset, and blocked me on everything except for blocking my phone number. She didn't block my phone number. She thought I'd moved on, and I hadn't. How do you know that? Anyway, I apologized for my behavior, accepted the end of the relationship, and wished her the best. She said, you as well. After 3 weeks of no contact, a whole 3 weeks, sent her a text. I was met with, please don't check in. I told you to stop texting me. Please respect that. So, which channel do you think told him to do that advice?
And the image that I'm getting is, I don't know.
You gotta keep checking in on her. You gotta be friends. No contact doesn't work.
The image that I'm getting is you're walking down the street on the sidewalk and you see this aggressive looking dog and the owner says, don't touch my dog. My dog is not friendly. And you go, can I pet that dog? No, my dog is not friendly. Please don't pet the dog. Can I pet your dog? No, it's going to bite you. And then you reach out and that dog bites you. You know, she's telling you repeatedly, don't text me. Don't reach out to me. I'm overwhelmed. This is inappropriate. You know, this is crossing boundaries for me. And you continue to do that, you know, without understanding that that's only going to escalate.
Yep.
You know, there's not going to be a moment to where the 12th or 13th text, she's going to say, okay, you've reached the magic number. Now I'm going to reply and change my mind. No. When you escalate, they escalate.
Yeah, and you know, you could see this falling apart because remember, he said he had been, you know, bothering her for 2 weeks and taking it out on her. And then she got to the point where she blocked him. I mean, see, this is what we're talking about. You can see all these mistakes right here. She blocked him, and what would we say? Don't go around the block. What would other coaches say? Keep checking in with him.
Don't do it.
Tell him you want to be friends.
Don't do it.
Ignore no contact. You can see the guy on the surfboard right now. Hey, I've been coaching for many years.
You get those ads too?
Yes, on my own videos. I can't help but laugh. No contact doesn't work. Let me tell you why.
And I also
I've only had 93 restraining orders against me.
No. And as much as we're laughing, I also wonder what's going on for him. You know, I know that this is really...
Who, the coach? I'm just kidding. I wonder what's going on with him too.
You know, you wonder because these are really intense emotions. And sometimes in our mind, we go through some crazy mental gymnastics to say, this is going to be the thing that soothes my anxiety. Or once I get a response, then I'll feel okay. We put so much value and dependence on someone else for our own mood, for our own sanity.
Yeah.
And it's really unhealthy. And it makes me want him to get help.
Yeah.
You know?
This is really about his emotional traumas with his childhood than it is about her. Because somebody who is in a better place would have at least backed off after they got blocked on everything. But he didn't. He went around the block, which is, kind of representing his anxiety level here and what he's going through. Okay, so this is why we tell you guys not to do this stuff, but what did she say? Please don't check in. I told you to stop texting me. Please respect that. How do I get her back, Craig? It feels so hopeless right now, and it doesn't feel like she'll ever be receptive to me again. She's very important to me, and I don't want to lose her for good. Please help.
I also want to say that someone with this level of desperation to try to connect with an ex after repeatedly, getting shut down, I am concerned about his mental health. I understand that sometimes we feel if I don't do this, I won't be able to handle the anxiety. If I don't reach out consistently and just sit with this feeling, I'm going to start thinking a lot of bad thoughts. I'm going to want to go to more extreme measures with my own mental health. So please, if you're in a position where you continually feel hopeless, worthless, excessive guilt, please talk to a professional. I know sometimes it can get to the point where you're thinking suicidal thoughts. When I see this kind of behavior, that's where my mind goes to. Do you think that your life will be over if you can't connect with this person? And how can we get you to a more confident place? So please, please, please seek local help.
Yeah, you got to, because it escalated pretty intensely here to the point where he was showing up at her work. Then she says, don't do that. He says, I understand. Then he tries to go back the next day. Then he keeps, reaching out to her for weeks, begging and pleading, going around the block, then checking in with her. So you have to respect yourself. And you have to love yourself enough to say, okay, I can't force myself on this person. It's not going to work. It's going to make things worse. And it probably scared her at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you are going to really have to work on your issues because she is going to test you. If she comes back, she is going to want to see that you are emotionally stable because at this point, I'm sure she doesn't think he is. Right? Because he's been unable to calm down or soothe himself.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to show her that because if she thinks that you're going to do anything like this again, she's not going to give this another chance, right? It's too scary, right?
Yeah, yeah. And as women, like I had said, we are looking out for our safety in a way that I don't think men do. So when somebody repeatedly crosses boundaries like this, showing up to work, scheduling appointments, taking advantage of her position, it is scary. I'll say that. It does make you wonder about what's ahead. And I'm just as you're feeling hopeless, I'm sure she's feeling a bit of hopelessness too. How can I create space here? And I'm trying to tell this person over and over and over again that I just need a break and I don't know what else to do. So, you say it all the time. Oftentimes we make other people feel how we feel. Okay? Don't push this hopelessness onto her. All of these emotions that you're feeling are very, very intense. You can handle them. You can, you know?
You're going to have to sit with this and you're going to have to leave her alone. I would not reach out to this woman for
ever
any reason, right? Any reason.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You need to let her reach out to you when she's ready and you're going to have to show endless amounts of patience with this woman and self-control because when she backed off, you really spiraled and it was a downward spiral that really didn't stop.
Yeah.
And so if you're her and you are interested in him again, wouldn't you think, let me see how he reacts when I reach out to him and I cancel that date?
Right.
Is he going to lose it again? Is he going to freak out?
And if I were her, I would also need time to recover from all of this.
Yeah.
I would need time and space to really believe that he can handle being on his own for some time. Yeah.
And, they were together for what, 8.5 months? He put that half in there. right? So you don't know what she's going to really look like as a long-term partner yet, and if she's going to be able to meet your needs. But the most important thing is that you use this as feedback to grow and to learn. And I know it's not fun going through this. You feel embarrassed about your behavior. You kind of feel ashamed. You don't want people to know about it, like the things that you do. But a lot of people do this.
Yeah.
It's more important to focus on learning and growing from it. And if you get another chance with her, you're going to have to really exhibit a lot of emotional self-control and then slowly regain her trust. Right?
I agree.
But, if she reached out, it'll take some time, probably like 4 or 5 months, something like that. It's only speculating. She might not, you never know. But typically with something like this, you're not going to hear from him like a month or 2 later. This is just way too much. And I think it really freaked her out with the whole job situation, right? But look, that just gives you more time to focus on who you want to be, heal from this, grow, learn, and either she comes back and you blow her away, or you move forward, you find somebody else, and you exhibit a lot more confidence and can attract them and be a better partner for them.
Right. And I also hope that you have enough social support around you that you don't have to go through this alone. I'm getting the sense that you're really dependent on her to validate your sadness and grief on the breakup. I hope that you have people around you that you can divulge all of this to and really trust. They might not give the best advice.
Yeah.
But at least having some listening ears around you. And of course, I advocate for therapy so much on this channel. So therapy can be a really great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.